shit. You niggas run to IG for inspiration, cause your immediate circle ain't good for shit but hating. How you hustling just to get complacent? We never settle, run these bitches then we pick replacements. About my money, niggas more concerned with getting famous and putting fake jewelry on layaway and missing payments. Hopping out of foreigns with a lot of miles, trying to make these bitches think.
With another episode, Bars, of the Bars Podcast. I'm Lord Rab.
I'm Brownie Blends.
I'm JTA.
We got the special guest, East Oakland's own, 95th's own.
Yes, sir.
Wait, deep East Oakland, 95th's own, because there's a difference.
What's the difference?
In my opinion, deep East Oakland starts at 73rd.
I would agree with you.
So,
but niggas in seminary, you know, that area 61st.
They gonna say they the deep too.
They gonna say they the deep. And the reason I would not disagree with that is because Funktown, the Dubs, the 30s, and the 40s is hella big.
Right.
So I ain't cutting nobody off. But I'm just saying 70s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, the 100s.
All right, well, let's start here. We
didn't say who we got on the show yet.
Okay, hold on. JTA, Juan Toscano. You started the Oakland shit. That's what happens when you get a native on the show. What's up? So I'm gonna ask Juan, where did East start at?
Damn, bro. I'm say the Dubs for real. I'm gonna go all the way to the Dubs. I mean, when you start going towards the lake and shit, that shit basically become downtown.
Yeah.
But geographically, I think Funktown. I think 8th Ave, East 24th.
Right. Well, when you come on that side of the lake, east of the lake, going towards anywhere Hayward, San Leandro way, is considered East Oakland. But for the longest, people from the Dubs claim their own world.
Right.
So they be like, I'm from the Dubs. I ain't from the East. I'm from the Dubs.
Right. But if a nigga say the East start. If a nigga say the East started the Dubs, that's fair.
That's East Oakland.
Can't argue with that.
That's East Oakland. You know what I mean? It's definitely not West. It's not North.
Right.
I mean, really, I feel like the East is when you take E1 all the way down and it ends, what is that, First Ave at the lake?
Yeah.
Right? Then everything coming back
Is the East
more or less.
Considered the East.
I do got a question, though, because I forgot where I was. I was out somewhere. I came to the Bay a couple weeks ago, and I ran into somebody at a gas station. He was just talking to me. He's like, where you from? I'm like, I'm from Oakland. Like, what part? I'm like, the East. Or no, I said, I'm from East Oakland.
Right.
He said, the shallow or the deep? And I looked at him.
Oh, shit.
I said, I ain't never heard that one before.
Shit. The shallow crazy.
Y'all heard that before?
No.
I never heard that before.
It makes sense, though.
But that's the same way I reacted about 4 years ago when somebody said New Oakland. When somebody said this is New Oakland, right? And I was thinking, I ain't talking about the song. We talking about
what geographically
they was talking about downtown is not downtown Oakland
Uptown,
no more.
no.
It's uptown.
Yeah. Well, okay,
uptown,
so
that's it, yeah.
So I looked into that after they started doing that, right? And Uptown Oakland existed, but it was way before our time, right? So that club was always called the Uptown because that part of Uptown. So right where the split is, off of Broadway and Telegraph, when you get to the split, that part of Telegraph is considered Uptown Oakland.
It's been that?
It has, but not for us. That shit was dead when we was. That shit was boarded up buildings.
Right.
Back in the day. I did want to say this too, because somebody brought this up earlier. Like, because I was saying, unfortunately, people running the stores and shit, right? And like, I felt like Lululemon gave us some action. They tried to stay there through people running up in there. A lot of people don't know it was a Foot Locker downtown Oakland.
Right.
Like, it was actually shopping
on Broadway.
On Broadway. It was a Gap there before.
Right.
I remember seeing that.
You know what I'm saying? And so it was like, because I believe that that's what we need. Like, you know, if you go to a downtown in all these other cities, no matter how bad the crime is, they still will have that.
But it's. I feel like they use crime as an excuse. I think that it's so hard to do business, and you know what I'm saying. I think it got a lot to do with the landlords, and it got to do with the price of to rent per square foot in these places.
Right.
I think businesses just be like, I'm just finna get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, I think it's a bigger agenda.
Mm-hmm.
Right. It's always a bigger agenda. Point blank, I had a shop in Stockton, right? Barbershop in Stockton. It was in Western Ranch. Western Ranch ain't the best part of town in Stockton, right? I closed it, and be honest with you, I closed it because I wasn't spending a lot of time there. I felt like wasn't, the bread wasn't flowing through there like I wanted to. But I was really busy and I just didn't have the time and effort to put into it. But I got broken into 3 times. I kept telling myself I got broken into 3 times as the reason I closed the shop. And part of it, but it really was if I was making money in motherfucking time. If I was, businesses that, you don't close businesses that are making money.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like, if you making money, you making money. Profit, loss come with it. So I just don't feel like people turn away from real bread just because it's crime in the area.
Hence is the reason why I don't believe the In-N-Out shit, and I don't believe the Cane's shit, right? So Cane's brought a new franchise. So In-N-Out been there, right? And then In-N-Out closed its doors, right? The only one in the world ever, right? And so Cane's coming there, which is a new franchise,
right?
But then closing the dining room because of bipping. But you remain there,
right?
Because you got whatever kind of contract, the lease you have, and leave the drive-through open. Like it don't make no sense. Instead of the city placing cops or whoever where crime is,
right?
So it just don't. It like so to both of y'all point. I think it's a bigger conspiracy too. I always did think that.
I mean, everything leaving Oakland, from our sports teams, you
right?
know, everything. I think it's all connected.
Yeah,
right. Just think about if you got a fire. You think that it's the 90s. You got a fire ass dope spot. It don't get no more riskier than that.
Right.
You ain't it's crime all around. You ain't finna leave a fire ass dope spot. You know what I'm saying? So it's just business is business. I really don't think if you in business to make money. If you're making a ton of money, you're gonna hire extra security before you close that business.
And it always makes you think, like, what about the business that's thriving around it?
Right.
Like, how does Starbucks close but Jamba Juice stay open?
Right.
Like, wait, something ain't adding up.
How's the hotels across the street still open?
Something ain't adding up.
Down the street, you right by it.
How y'all building new shit?
I just don't.
Now,
if you ain't making no money, like Walmart, when they closed, they claim that profit. It was a profit and loss type
Shit,
thing.
me that Walmart full every day you go.
Man.
They said people was just.
It ain't that much stealing in the world, bro.
Come on, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it ain't that much still in the world. So that was why they closed. That was a bigger agenda, bro. Something else was happening over there, bro. You know what I'm saying?
That shit was ghetto as hell.
Well, while we're right there, JTA, I just want to ask you this because Oakland is notorious for a lot of things, right? Mm-hmm. And including political driven stuff like either what happened to Oscar Grant, right, which caused the riots and really was the first this generation's sign of revolution before George Floyd, right? This is the first time everybody's seen it broadcast on the news, right? Then you have stuff like Shane Tao and the mayor that just got indicted. You got stuff like the Oakland rioters, right? You got like our city we be like, oh, this is a small city, but like it's so much shit that happens in this city from drug kingpins to the Panthers. How do you feel coming from Oakland and like, how do you, because I know people always be like, wait, you from Oakland?
Right.
Like explain it, right? We on the island, we not Crips, we not Bloods.
Right.
Like, so how do you explain it to people?
One thing I can say is like when you go anywhere and you tell people if you from Oakland, you got stripes immediately. For whatever reason that is, like, I don't know if people just know the history here, whether it's just because they listen to Too Short, Blow the Whip, like whatever it is, people are, oh, you from Oakland.
Yeah.
I fuck with you.
Right.
So, I mean, for me, it's a sense of pride. And, I mean, it's tough places all over the world, bro. I've been all over the world. Like, Oakland's not the only tough place. But everything that comes with, being raised in Oakland and growing up in Oakland, like, bro, you got to be tough in Oakland. Like, you can't be no bitch. That's the first thing. Like, you can't play out no parks, no boys and girls. I mean, like, when we was growing up, people was outside playing. Like, that's where you went and had your childhood.
Right.
It wasn't on the video game. It wasn't on the iPad. Like, you was really outside in the flesh, congregating amongst your peers. And you had to hold your own. Mm-hmm. Like, you had to fight. You had to stand up for yourself. You had to be able to tell jokes and crack jokes and, not get roasted and shit.
You know what's crazy about what he said? Not standing up for yourself, like running from some shit, or not. That was what you would have preferred to get your ass.
It was prohibited, bro.
Yeah,
if you ran,
prefer to get your ass.
Who you gonna tell you ran?
Right. That shit was like though. if you and your partners was at the mall and y'all got into it and you was a nigga that ran or you didn't throw a blow or you ain't do nothing,
you might as well stay in the house.
It's over for you.
To this day, you could be the MMA champion, and they gonna remind you like you bitched out at that when they was on us, bro.
Niggas gonna be remember that 15, 20 years later. Nigga.
Forever.
You know what I'm saying?
Forever.
It don't go away.
And so, like, I think it's a sense of pride. I think it's a badge of honor. For me, at least, that's how I see it. Like, I'm proud to be from Oakland. Regardless of what they say about the town, like, you feel me? Like, being from Oakland is special.
It's very
We got
special.
a lot of history. We got a lot of diversity. Motherfuckers doing what they supposed to do out there, you know what I'm saying? In every which way. You know, we are who we are.
Absolutely.
And I feel like whenever you go anywhere and you from Oakland, one, you gonna find your tribe. People from Oakland always find each other. You could be in a party in Miami, in a club in Miami. Like, you gonna find your tribe. And also, like I said, you just get them stripes when you say you from Oakland. It's a special place.
Right. Well, Oakland is the Bay Area as a whole, but we talking Oakland right now. Oakland is a different place when it comes to like the dynamic between racial backgrounds and things of that nature. So you black and Mexican, right? Right. We vibe with Mexicans here. Like, them is our people in Oakland. We chill amongst them. But you go to somewhere like LA, it's a little bit more segregated. Right. You know what I'm saying? Talk to us a little bit about your experience when it comes to that, you know, being on both sides.
Yeah, I mean, I got a funny, it was kind of funny because I've never really talked about it publicly. Obviously, the people close to me know. But when I left the Warriors and I went to LA, obviously, like when I got to the NBA, let me go back a little bit. Like before I got to the NBA, people didn't know that I was Mexican really. Because like the way I talk, the way I dress, like my get up is just it doesn't reflect Mexican. Mm-hmm. When I got to the NBA, obviously I had started my career in Mexico. I played for the Mexican national team. Right. It was a thing. Mm-hmm. So everybody thought I was Mexican. Like even in the league during the game, people asked me like, "Yo, you from Mexico?" I'm like, I'm from the town. Right, like, right. You know, I'm mixed, but like I'm from the town. Like this is who I am. I really identify more with urban and black culture than anything. Mm-hmm. So obviously that blew up like the big Mexican thing, and then when I went to LA, I had like some OGs tapping in with me on both sides, like you know, gang members and people, and you know, just kind of trying to put me on game, but also kind of really trying to sway me from like, I don't want to say people was trying to sway me, but it was just kind of like warning signs from both sides, you know what I'm saying? But that goes to show you the politics. And I actually I don't want to say I got pressed, but some young folks try to press me at a UCLA and USC game on some shit. Right. And, you know, I kind of left it alone because at that point I was just I'm bigger than that. You know what I'm saying? That ain't even what I'm trying to go back to or even be a part of. I'm not even trying to, like, get into
it. After the game? During the game?
I'm on my way into the game. And as they pressing me, like, I'm having a moment in my mind, like, do I go this way or do I go this way with them? Right. I decided to go this way with them and just keep it cool. And literally like 5 seconds later, Danny Ainge is walking out, which Danny Ainge is the GM of the Utah Jazz now. Right. Like 2 weeks later, I end up getting traded to Utah. So it's crazy how stuff, you know, ends up happening like that. But my whole point being is like the culture is different down there. Right. People are a lot more particular. People are a lot more like finicky about stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Like obviously the colors you wear, the way you talk, the way you walk. Like I had, you know,
wearing a hat.
Yeah, I had people DMing me, you know, saying I ain't black enough. People DMing me saying like I do all the Mexican shit for ops and this, that, and the third. It's like, bro, like how? I started my career in Mexico. Right. Like I'm raised by a completely Mexican family. Right. I have no. I don't want to say I have no black family. I'm not saying that. I wasn't raised with no black family at all, whatsoever. Me and my siblings, me and my 3 siblings, there's 4 of us, we have black. That was my black family. Right. I was raised by all Mexican people. So one, I ain't doing this shit for op. This is who I am. You just see it as an op because, well, I'm half black too, and my culture and my get up is just urban culture. Like that's just who I am.
So now, fast forward, you make it to the league. So now, obviously, you got the black people you know, or the black people in your family. Like, oh, he one of ours. Then you got the Mexican people like, oh no, he's one of ours. Do you deal with that dynamic too?
Absolutely, but more so the other side of it, like you ain't Mexican enough. Oh, okay. You ain't black enough. Okay. I mean, the love is still there, and I pay attention more to the love than anything at this point because obviously, at the age of 32, I've learned you damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Right.
People always gonna have something to say. It don't matter what you do. You could create the cure for cancer. People gonna say, well, shit, you didn't create the cure for HIV or something. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I've learned that, like, just to pay attention to the love more, and I feel like people who say those types of things to me, they're projecting their own insecurities and discomfort on me because, well, from a cultural standpoint, I'm the Mexican dude that a Mexican girl can take home.
Right.
But I'm black though. But then when I get in the house and I'm congregating with her family and I'm speaking Spanish and like my fiance, my baby mama, she Mexican.
Right.
Her whole family's Mexican. I go over there, I fit right in. Shit,
Right
I'm
in.
more Mexican than her.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I know
Right,
all the culture.
traditions,
I know all the
everything.
traditions. I speak Spanish. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So I'm the black dude that Mexican girls can take, or a Mexican girl. I'm not gonna say girls because you feel me the situation, but I'm the black dude that a Mexican girl can take home, and I think Mexican dudes don't really like
Right,
that.
because-
Traditional Mexican.
Right.
Man, you know?
Because that's why that was another reason why I brought that conversation up. It was a video out, a comment by Lefty Gunplay on Kendrick shit, and he was like we can't bring. He was like most Mexicans can't bring. He couldn't bring a black woman home or something to his family. Do I got that correct or something like that?
And he's saying he wouldn't want his daughter to bring a black dude home.
Right.
And he was on a podcast. I don't remember the name of the podcast, but he said he wouldn't want his Mexican daughter to bring a black dude home, which I was telling Blends, I understand because I understand LA's way of living, right? I don't feel it because where I'm from, we don't fuck with it like that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We congregate, we mix, we don't, you know what I'm saying? And so like in our hoods, it's block for block. Like you from 95th, we know 94th is notorious Mexican block. Like that's they hood. Like that's
Absolutely.
what they ran, right? And so the Border Brothers. And so like we never had those issues, right? If you had an issue with a Mexican dude and his crew, it's the same thing as having an issue with a black dude and his crew. It's no difference. Like where we from, right? It ain't gonna be racial,
Right.
You know what I mean? And so but how do you feel about that? Like the way that they play it, or at least what Lefty said.
I mean, look, I don't agree with that because, well, I'm biracial and I've been exposed to a lot of different environments. I'm very versatile when it comes to my character. Like I can go have dinner with the richest dude in the world, and I can go have lunch with a homeless person in East Oakland. I can go sit down with Mexicans. I can go sit down with Asians. I can go sit down with white people. I can go sit down with gay people. I can go sit down with straight people. I can go sit down with women. I can go sit down with men. So I personally don't agree with that because I don't really see labels when I see people. What I see when I see people is I see, how do you treat me? How do you treat other people? Are you considerate? You know, what's your personality like? What are your goals and your morals? That's how I judge people. I mean, we judging people off color and culture. Like, come on, we a lost society.
That's crazy.
You know what I'm saying?
And another thing you said earlier, which is one thing that I encourage because it's something that I love to do, is travel, right? Because most of the time when you land in other countries, when they real cultured, you don't feel like me landing in other countries, I wasn't a black man. Right? For whatever they might have thought I could have been, they could have thought I was Nigerian, whatever they thought I was, but a black man is the last thing that comes up. Like, no, where you from? They ask me, where you from? If I say America, they're like, what? Like, what? You saying you black? Where you from? Right? And so that's how I feel when I'm in other places. So that, like, you know, for me, I've never been racist or into racial lines or whatever anyway, but I encourage other people to go around the world so that shit goes away. You start... Like, you know what I mean? You go somewhere, you see white people speaking Spanish, which is in Spain. You know what I mean? Like, it's not, you know, if your only version is what you see in your 60 blocks, then you're going to be fucked up anyway.
Exactly. And I also encourage people to travel as well because we are a very diverse area in the Bay Area. But when you go to other places like London and New York City and Miami and, I mean, I could think of Amsterdam. Like, I've been to these cities. We really ain't that diverse.
Nah.
Because you run to those places and you run into somebody who's Salvadorian and half Fijian, and you run into somebody who's half Indian and half, I don't know, something you ain't never even heard of. It's like, oh shit, like, well, I thought the Bay Area was diverse, but in actuality, like, this is way more diverse than anything I have ever seen.
For
so
sure.
I think it definitely opens your eyes and it enlightens you and it shows you that there's a whole world out there. like literally and figuratively.
What is the reception for you like in Mexico?
It for the most part is good. For the most part is good. I'd say like 75-25, 75 it being good, and then the other 25 it being a little bit like, obviously from a basketball standpoint, right now I have more of a presence than so Jaime Jaquez, who plays for the Miami Heat, he's the only Mexican in the NBA at the moment.
Right.
However, he ain't win a championship yet, and he doesn't spend as much time in Mexico as I do, so he don't have the same impact that I do. You know, there were guys who from Mexico who played in the NBA prior to me, but they played in different eras when the internet wasn't that big and so forth. And so I say all that to say that my visibility and my presence is kind of bigger than the other players that played in the NBA right now. And so when I feel like, and take this word with a grain of salt, but like when you like the example, the top dog or whatever, everybody, like I said, it goes back to everybody got something to say about everything you do. And for me, what I started my career doing and what I'm going to do for the rest of my life is I'm always going to do what's best for me. Because at the end of the day, ain't no love in this shit. Like when I'm done playing, there's going to be another player to come and be the next this, that, and everybody going to forget about me.
That's a fact.
But I need to do what's best for me because I need to get all the bread that I can out of this. And also I need to make the most out of my career. This is my life. This is my career. And so a lot of people don't disagree with some of the, decisions I make. Like I don't play for the national team, at the moment. Hopefully one day that. But for, things like that, like I get a lot of backlash and I get a lot of hate and I get a lot of, criticism for, certain things.
So that's a decision you made not to pay for? Okay. What was the difference? What was it in contrast?
I just didn't really fuck with like just the approach from that side. You know what I'm saying? Like I truly believe in like player empowerment, and I appreciate and respect coaches that look out for their players and organizations that look out for their players. Like they don't have to do that. By no means is it an obligation, but I really I gravitate towards those type of coaches and organizations. A lot of the Warriors, they always, and lucky me, it's a gift and a curse that I've been able to see the best.
Right.
Because now I'm jaded because everything I'm looking at, I'm comparing to this.
You're like, nah, this ain't like what I've been.
This ain't it. This ain't it. You know what I'm saying? And so, I'm a hothead on the court. Obviously my persona on the court is totally different than my persona off the court, but fans, they only see me on the court. They're not kicking it with me. I'm not doing podcasts all the time. I'm not talking all the time. They're not going out, like they ain't seeing me in the flesh. So this all they see. They just see this dude who getting technicals, who arguing. Like, I mean, I'm like Draymond. That's why me and Draymond get along. Well, we two peas in a pod. So they just see this guy who's just like, losing his mind and, don't care about the Mexican national. And in actuality, it's like, no, I didn't go play in one tournament because one of my best friends was getting married. And I'm always going to choose my family and friends over this sport.
Absolutely.
Because when I'm 39 and my knee is broke or my shoulder broke and my back hurting and I can't hoop no more, well, my friends going to still be there. We still going to be taking trips. We still going to be going on vacations. We still going to be shooting the shit. We still going to be loving on one another. They still going to love me for who I am. When I'm done playing, y'all fans ain't going to give a damn about me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I don't think people understand that. And the last thing I'll say is that when you go to different countries, like playing for the national team is the top. It's not making it to the NBA. It's not winning a championship in the NBA. It's not getting a $100 million contract. It's playing for your national team. And I respect that. And I admire that. And, like, it's commendable. I love it because when you go to other countries, like, they live and die behind their national team.
They do.
But at the same time, I think people need to understand the business a little bit more and understand that this is a business. You know what I'm saying? This is a job. And so... I'm not always going to pick to go do what y'all want me to do. Like, I got a family, too. I got a kid. I got a mama that's getting older. I got brothers and sisters that I ain't seen, like, at one point I hadn't seen for years. You know what I'm saying? It's like, this ain't life.
Shit. You niggas run the IG for inspiration, cause your immediate circle ain't good for shit but hating. How you hustling just to get complacent? We never settle. Run these bitches, then we pick replacements. About my money, niggas more concerned with getting famous and putting fake jury on